we're already on that path. How can someone trust their inner self, the voice that they hear all the
Mm,
time? How can, because we all hear voices,
mm.
we all have our little right side angel, left side angel. We have those.
Right, right.
So how can someone trust those voices?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and a question that I've asked myself many times. And I remember maybe about, I'm trying to remember how long it was. It was years ago, at least I want to say maybe 12, 13 years ago, when I'd already been on this path of becoming more empowered and learning how to be more spiritually led. I'm just going to go there with it, right? For me, it was like I had a spiritual awakening about 18, 19 years ago, and it happened at the lowest point of my life. I mean, I was like down and out. I was in a very dark place to the point that I was like thinking about taking my own life. That's how low I was. And it happened I was incarcerated. So for those of you that don't know, I was in prison, in federal prison, and I was facing charges of drug conspiracy because my drug use led to drug dealing and led to making tons of money doing that. And I ended up in the federal prison system, and everything was stripped from me that gave me the sense of self-worth, that gave me the feelings. I mean, everything was all gone, and I'm sitting there in a 6 by 8 cell with some top ramen soups and some chips in my locker and being fed the most horrible meals, wearing the same clothes and not being able to control Lyra. Ooh, that was a tough one, right? Not being able to use money to get what I want because it was all taken from me. And that bottomless, what felt like a bottomless pit of depression and sorrow and anger and just like, why am I here? Like, how did I just was like questioning my life. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, it just all came hitting me at once.
Yeah.
And in that dark night of the soul, as a term that's used a lot, which is a term used when somebody goes through like a low level, but out of that low level, it's like it's kind of like the caterpillar, right? It like disintegrates inside its cocoon as it's reemerging. But imagine disintegrating. It can be a painful process because and a scary process. And I'm sure your listeners can relate on some level. Maybe not maybe you didn't drug deal or go to be incarcerated, but on some level where it's like we create these personas of who we think we need to be, so that we can be liked, loved, and respected. And that's what I did. And so that was preventing me from tapping into my truest, authentic self. And so the voices, to answer your question, our unconscious mind creates different parts, different sections, so to speak. There's the ego, which is one part of us, which is a voice that's consistently there. It's not a bad thing. It's just an ego. Ego can be healthy and it can be unhealthy. It can be either one. It depends on how you train the ego, which is your identity. It's like a little temporal you. Then you have the higher self, which is the truest fragment of the God self spirit that's evolving you to become who you're truly meant to be. So you have this going on consistently, but there's these parts that are developed or created based upon our upbringing. So, for example, when I do the work that I do with some of my clients, it's like it's like the mom's voice is still playing in the head from either positive or negative, or the dad's voice, or the uncle's voice, or somebody's voice. And so these start to take little forms and can be scary if you don't know what that is. So how do you identify the difference between them? And so it's challenging, right? But what I've found is that as you create more inner awareness, and awareness means that you're aware of what's happening in the mind, and you're aware of the different voices, you can feel which one feels better. You start to notice like, this one feels like this, that one feels like this, and and then you act on them, and then you'll see, oh, that one was really based upon selfishness. But you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be like brutally honest with yourself. But that one was based upon more other focus, other people. And you start to learn. You start to learn which one to listen to. And for me, the goal is to be more spiritually led in my life. For me, I can't say for anybody else. For me, that's how I like to live my life. And so I believe when it comes from spirit, from God, from source, energy, whatever name people want to give that which created all,
Yeah.
you know, uh, follow that. Tune into that thing, because that's what's growing the trees, and that's what's giving us sun, that's what's providing us air. And if you look at this intelligence that clearly exists in reality, it's always giving of itself. This it's like a mother nature energy. It's a father energy. It's both. I think it's both, my opinion, right? And it's never asking, what can you do for me? It's always just giving us plenty of fruits, plenty of things and everything. And so it's abundance is in our nature is what I'm really trying to get to here, right? Like we're created to be abundant, but we are conditioned sometimes to be not enough and scarcity. And if she has something that I won't have enough in, and there's this like not enough mentality that's a virus, I believe. It's a bad virus that's in the mind. It's like a scarcity. I don't have enough, and it's programming for the most part. For the most part, it's completely programming actually, and we bought into this as a society. I'm sure your age is waking up to this fucking shit. You're seeing like, wait a minute, whoa, wait. Why are we believing what we believe in? Because our parents believed in that, and their parents believed in that, and so it's like people are waking up. They're
Mm-hmm.
seeing through the illusion of that, right? And it's an exciting time that we live in, I think. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I kind of went a little bit over yours.
I think you did. I think you did, especially touching into, you know, to be able to identify the voice that you need to let it guide you. You need to tap into something other than yourself, into a higher power or Mother Nature, whatever you want to call it, like you said.
Right.
You have to seek out that higher power to be, to be able to respond to those voices in the right way, if I heard you correctly.
Yes. And let me just break it down for some of the people so based upon the courses that I teach NLP. So NLP studied the mind, studied how we communicate. It's really the study of communication with self and other people and how to be more in control of that, right? So what you said, I loved because you said we're always hearing voices, we're always talking to ourselves. Most people don't admit that, but it's true. So this is kind of how the system works. We have 5 different modalities of learning called the senses, right? You have what you see clearly, you can see unless you're blind. Um, you can hear things unless you're deaf, and you can feel things. You can taste things and you can smell things. Those are our 5 primary senses, but they're not just senses, they're also modalities of learning. So some of us are more visual learners. We need to see things, we need to read or see videos. Some of us are more auditory learners. We're all of them, by the way, but we might lean more towards one. Some of us are more kinesthetic learners. I want to do the thing and I learn through doing. Now, those are kinesthetic learners. Those are the 3 primary ones, are those visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. And then you have, of course, what you smell and what you taste. All of that gets filtered in through your conscious mind. Your conscious mind can only hold up to 4 to 6 or 7 things at one given time, at the best. At the best. So your conscious mind, it deletes information. It has to. It distorts information and it generalizes information through this filter. And then what you get is 126 bits of information based upon 2 million bits of information at any given time. So you don't receive everything that's coming at you. But what decides the 126 bits? Your beliefs and your values and what's called meta programs. So this is kind of deep, right? So you got all this information, like right